of like every night, like before bed, or like I would make time to like work on beats, and like I'd be working in Ableton or like recording guitar or whatever. But after I left New Orleans when COVID hit, two things. I got incredibly deep into crypto and NFTs and all the things. DeFi at the time was the thing.
Yeah.
And started learning how to code. So now I'm like spending several hours a day like working in VS Code and like watching coding videos and like doing the thing. So like at the end of all of that, like the last thing I wanted to do was like open up Ableton and start making beats. I wanted to like go for a bike ride or like go hang out with my parents or like something. I didn't want to stay on my computer. So I feel like my coding journey kind of disrupted my music journey a little bit, at least in like the online way. I think it pushed me to like pick up my guitar a lot more, but I wasn't like recording and producing things.
Why did you start coding?
Why did I start coding? Honestly, it's something that had been in the back of my mind for a while. I think the thing that pushed me into it at that time was that I was working on a project called Sofa King Fest. It was like an online kind of TV guide-esque platform where we aggregated live stream concerts from like Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, like all the platforms, and we put them in like a TV guide type interface, a website. And we used this platform to host these telethon events, raising money for PPE, not PPP. In New Orleans, raised a few $100,000
Nice.
doing. Yeah, but I was the only non-technical person on that team.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like I just found myself like I really wanted to like help, and I mean I did a lot. Like I was the only one that was like curating those streams, and I was like loading like, you know, on like 6-7 different channels. I was manually loading like 24/7 live stream content. And I was managing our socials, like, and I was doing OBS, and I was doing all this stuff. So like I was doing a lot, but I just felt like when we would all get together and talk about the thing, I was like, I have no idea what y'all are talking about. And like, I want to.
Yeah.
So that experience, that wasn't sustainable. It was like a volunteer thing anyway, but I came out of that and I was like, next time I'm working on a really cool product like this, I want to be able to understand like what everybody's doing and like how it's being built. And I want to be able to like add my thoughts in a way that like isn't detractive, because I feel like if you don't know how products get built and if you don't have any context for like engineering product development, then you're really limited in like what you can contribute.
Yeah.
So I was feeling like I was out of work at the time because the company I was with in New Orleans didn't make it or went out. And I had moved home for a bit. So I was like, okay, like not paying rent, you're not working, like maybe now would be a good time to, you know, do a coding bootcamp.
Yeah.
So I did.
And you currently, like, that's your kind of like job right now, right?
Yeah, well, it has been. I'm actually kind of in a period of transition right now within Mochi, which is exciting.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be taking a step back from the engineering side. This is like as of yesterday. This is like hot off the press.
Ooh.
Like we just finalized my new contract and everything.
Wow.
But yeah, so what I'm going to be doing now is like DAO success, because now we're in a position where we're going to be like exporting Mochi for other DAOs to be using. And so I'm going to be the point person to like onboard those communities, like make sure that they're successful using Mochi, and like relaying learnings from that to like the dev team for, you know,
Incredible.
on the product. So I'm really excited about that because I feel like it's something that's going to allow me to use the technical experience that I've had over the past year and a half or so, but also like use the relationship building communication stuff that I was doing before. So I'm really hyped about all of that. But
How did you find Mochi?
What's up?
How did you find Mochi?
How did I find Mochi? Eddie plugged me in.
And how did you know Eddie? From Chicago days or what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the summer going into my senior year, I think it was, this is the same time I was working on the EP I mentioned before. I was doing an internship at 2112, which is a creative industry incubator in Chicago. So think like, what's a good example of like, it's like, I mean, a startup incubator.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was specifically for creative industry projects.
Okay.
It was in this amazing complex on like deep west side of Chicago. That was like, I think it was like 100,000 square foot like recording studio, like
Wow.
full stack like production. They had like a building called the Hangar that they would like actually do a lot of film, commercial type stuff in. So it was this incubator that was like in this much larger like creative ecosystem kind of like massive warehouse.
Cool.
Such cool energy there, and a lot of like my favorite artists at the time. A lot of notable Chicago artists would come and record there. So anyway, Eddie was in and out of there a lot because he was managing a lot of those artists. So we met actually before I started that internship. We met because he was coming to speak at Northwestern like about 2112 as a representative of 2112. And then once I was in there every day, I would just run into him. And like that summer I was living in Chicago, so he would like plug me into cool events and like stuff. He was kind of like a mentor during that time. So anyway, we stayed connected. When I was starting out my coding journey, I was posting every day on LinkedIn. I was doing this 100 days of code thing to hold myself accountable. Very Mochi-esque.
Very Mochi, very like on LinkedIn though. What did you have to like? Did you check in or what did you post? Like, what was the content that you were posting?
Well, it was like I was literally just doing an update on what I had learned that day. So like, some days it was like, okay, today I like spent 30 minutes watching CSS tutorials, and other days it was like, okay, today I actually built this thing. Here's like a screen recording of it. I would share them.
God, so Mochi.
Yeah. It was like show and tell. But I was doing that, and then Eddie hit me up because at a certain point, like halfway or so into the 100 days, I got to the point where I could start looking at blockchain stuff because I wasn't like an absolute baby anymore. And Eddie was like, "Hey, I see you're like, learning to code, working on blockchain stuff. I know a cool blockchain company or a cool blockchain project that needs developers." And at the time I was like imposter syndrome, like I can't build a product, like I'm a baby. But talked to Gabe and Kyle and like, felt really aligned with them, and yeah, that was it. I feel like this is a thing. I'm sure. Do you know people who've gone through coding boot camps?
I think so, but I've never like I know that I have, but I don't know much about them. Like I've never talked about them with people.
Okay, well, there's like this. I feel like this is a thing. Maybe it's just my experience, but I feel like everybody just assumes that if you go through a boot camp,
you get a job.
You need to like pay your dues. Like you're gonna just take the first like shitty corporate like QA job that you get to like pay your dues before you can like build your career in a cool direction or like the direction that you want.
Interesting.
Right? So like me coming straight out of boot camp, getting connected with these like amazing people working on this project that like was very interesting to me. I was like, wow, how did this happen for me? So
cool.
That was a cool moment.
Awesome.
And now look at us, a year later.
Well, here we are.
Graduates.
Yeah, how did you feel about yesterday? So for context, do you want to share a bit about what yesterday was, or like what Seed Club was? And I actually haven't talked to anybody about their Seed Club experience. So
yeah, well, I'm probably not the person because I didn't personally go through any of the Seed Club programming, but